Hey folks, Yoda from AdX Nation. Here with another gear review. We had some requests on the forum for a review of Deer Crossing Archery's arrows. Any of you that are familiar with Bart Lawson, he's been in the industry for a while. I was very impressed with the arrows that he first came out with a prior company. And when I found out that he was the mastermind behind Deer Crossing, I was very curious to see what he's done. They've come up with some new carbon weaving technology that is supposed to increase not just the durability of the arrows, but the spine and the straightness. Initial reports coming from a number of people who have gotten these is not only do they meet spec, but they actually exceed what the industry standard is right now. And we'll be doing spine checking on some shafts that I'm going to get later. I want to do them on full-length shafts, not prior cut shafts. For these, I've got 350 spine arrows. They came, I just pulled them out of the package, and they came with inserts and outserts in this cute little bag, and also outsert installation instructions and pretty cool little sticker that I'm going to have to put somewhere, and I don't know where yet. So haven't even opened this yet, so it's going to be interesting to see what their outserts are. This is, like I say, you know, very anticipated. Everyone's hoping that these outserts are going to be better than prior outserts that have been hammered throughout the industry. Look at that, they even sent me field points. How cool is that? So the outserts, a little bit different than the ones that I saw before. I can tell you they've got an interesting taper on the end of them. So I've got to get these things glued on. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to weigh each of these inserts just to make sure, or outserts, to make sure that they're all roughly the same weight, hopefully exactly the same weight. And then I'll end up going through whatever their installation process is for the outserts, and I'll film some of that so that you guys can see if it's as easy as I'm hoping, or if it's a difficult process like some of the ones we've seen in the industry before. But hey, we'll get to this. You guys watch after we get everything done. Obviously not today because we need to let the glue cure, but what I'd like to do is we're going to do some group testing. I'm going to shoot them for giggles to check some of the accuracy, and then I've got a very non-scientific penetration test that I've set up with one of the targets. I'm going to shoot an Easton FMJ Dangerous Game shaft, Easton ACC Pro Hunter, and the new SD Hunters to see, you know, roughly what the penetration values are going to be. And you know, like I say, it's not a scientific test, but you know, we should be able to see if there's going to be a little bit more penetration like we're expecting out of these SDs. So hang tight, watch along, and let's see what we can come up with. Hey folks, before we get to putting these things together, I'm going to weigh each of the shafts and show you what kind of consistency there is in the shafts, and I'm also going to weigh all of the outserts so you can see each of those individually. I don't have the best scale in the world, but you know, it has worked in the past, so we'll see what happens with it.
Those cherries are good. And fresh.
Folks, I was just getting ready to glue these in. I was reading the instructions on the outserts, and a couple of things struck me right off the bat. One, the last group of these thin diameter arrows that I got with some of the outserts, when you'd go to put them on, they wouldn't fit. So you'd have to take sandpaper and sand it down, and I mean, it was a real pain in the tail. So when I took these out, I wanted to test fit them, and while I was test fitting, a couple of things came to mind that came to light that you guys might be really interested in. First was these things fit perfectly. I mean, this is a nice snug fit in here, but what really struck me as cool, they've got some micro grooves inside the outsert. So when you put these in and you twist, it actually starts to lock that outsert onto the end of the carbon. So, you know, call it an extra safety feature to keep these things concentric, or, you know, whatever. I just thought it was something that needed to be mentioned before I started gluing these things on, because I was very impressed with that right off the bat. You know, how well they hold, we'll find out. How well they stay concentric, we'll find out here shortly, but they claim that you can use any type of super glue with the tight fitting outserts, and if your outsert is a little bit looser, they recommend that you use a 5-minute epoxy, and while that epoxy is setting up, you continue to slightly turn these outserts so that it locks in even better and keeps the concentricity of it you know, where it needs to be. So we're going to get at it here right shortly, but I just wanted to throw that in real quick. Let's see if we can't slap some of these together real quick. Those of you that are getting up there in age like me, I wish like heck I had my readers, because I can't see worth of garbage right now. You know, my wife's out there, she's going to see that I'm doing this to my jeans. And I can tell you, these things fit beautifully. Good Lord. Man. Seriously, this is like, you know, they've got a beautiful tight fit. Most, you know, most companies with their arrows, you know, inner diameter is easy because, you know, they're woven on a mandrel. It's the outer diameters where, you know, most companies end up running into some issues because, you know, the sanding process when it's done at the end, that's where most of them run into trouble. But I mean, these, so far I'm pretty impressed, but you know, that's ain't saying much. Pretty easy to impress me, I'm an old man, so just kidding. Moment of truth, folks. We'll see how this works. Suckers in there. As you can tell, I wasn't really prepared to do this. Right, I had a rag out here or something, but yeah, I'm kind of dumb. And I'm just using a gel controlled super glue right now to, we'll see if it works. And again, hopefully my wife doesn't get too pissed that I'm wiping super glue off on my hands and my clothes. I guess we'll see. And the reason I'm doing this instead of something like an insert iron, which I'm out of at the moment, is because I want to get to shooting these things like now. Look at how tight, man. Love it. All right, there they are. We're gonna give them a good 15-20 minutes to cure up. Alright folks, as you can see downrange past the motorcycles on the first target is the second target. I've got a GoPro on that so you guys can see groupings, penetration levels, that kind of garbage. It's a fairly brand new target. I think I've got like 10 arrows in it, no broadheads. They were all field points, but 100 grain tips on these that they sent. Total weight is 450 grains. With the outsert and with these field points. When I do the penetration test, I'm going to do 125 grain heads on each of the arrows. Might do 100 also, but they're pretty heavy. So 450s. First shots I've taken out of these, not tuned to the bow. I'm tuned to a regular diameter shaft, not these micros, but it should be close enough that we can at least see what type of accuracy potential they have. And I say potential because, well, I'm not the best shot in the world, so. And I'm shooting at 30 yards, not 20. See what we can do here. Shooting an Obsession Nightmare. It's a bow that I shot all last year. 29-inch draw, 70 pounds draw weight. I haven't even turned the nocks on these yet, so I'm interested. So let's go see potential. I have an untuned bow. Oh yeah, beauties. Oh, I love my motorcycles. And, of course, love the wife's car, too. Alright, so, as you can see, like I say, untuned bow. First time shooting out of this thing. Not bad potential at 30 yards. So it'll be interesting to see what I can do with these things after I get them tuned up. Alright, same thing, but these are the Hunters. They came in at 370 grains with a 100 grain field tip. Again, shooting the Obsession Nightmare, 2970. I'm sighted in at 30 yards right now shooting ACC, so there's going to be a considerable difference weight-wise and trajectory, but what the heck, let's give it a rip. I'm going to aim for the lower portion of the big white circle and see what happens. say I wasn't real confident in my aim point on that one, but oh well. Like I say, not the best shot in the world, but let's see what happens. They're quick, I'll tell you that. Alright, so let's run down and take a quick look. Again, for those of you that are motorcycle aficionados, that's two Kawasaki ZZRs. My wife's 600 and my 1200. Beautiful! Like I say, that first shot I wasn't real confident in where my aim point was, but the other two I was fairly confident, 30 yards. I mean, tagging right next to each other, so kind of hard to beat that. Don't know about you, but not too bad for an old guy, right? Alright folks, so there you have it. You know, initial thoughts, I'm impressed with the fit of the outserts on the SDs. Pretty impressed with the arrow. You know, initial thoughts, it flew good, it penetrated great. You know, easy installation. I'll say, you know, initial thoughts are it's an improvement over what I've seen so far in the industry. Really like it. Time will tell. I'm going to do some more playing with them, obviously. The Hunters, I'm going to tell you right now, are going to quickly become a favorite arrow of mine. You know, the more I get into the speed demon side of archery and enjoying the speed that I can get out of these bows. Light arrow, great accuracy, you know, right out of the chute. They seem to be great quality. Again, time will tell. You know, coming straight from the factory, they, you know, assembled them with the exception of putting in the inserts and the outserts. You know, the vanes were glued in great, nocks are great, the arrows appear to be, you know, really good quality. Time will tell. We'll keep shooting them, and I'll keep reporting on them. And, you know, that's it. Tell your friends to come over to addictsnation.com, jump on the forum, see these reviews. And again, if you guys want to purchase any of these, I set up a deal with DCA. If you put in a promo code AddictsNation, you'll get 10% off. Seem to be great arrows, so give them a shot. And cheap too. The Hunters are only mid $50 range for a dozen arrows. You know, you can't beat that price right now on the market. So again, tune back in. We'll keep shooting them. I'll keep reporting on them. Till then, see ya.